Allie here. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Jessica. So today's video is going to be one that I wanted to do for a very long time. This is going to be on why I am vegan. This is going to be on how I became vegan, what it's like to be vegan. So as you guys can see, this is just a very laid back and chill type of vibe here. I just want to talk with you guys and just share my story. It's really important to me, and I'm super passionate about just having a vegan diet. It's done a lot for me. It has changed a lot in my life. And I really just wanted to share my story because I still every single day run into a lot of comments and people that still don't really understand why I'm vegan or what being vegan is or plant-based. And I want to tell you guys how it has changed changed my health, and how I have had some major improvements in my health that I cannot wait to share with you guys, because hopefully if there is anybody else out there that was going through what I was going through, and if this video reaches you, hopefully this can help you as well. I'm going to talk about a few myths and just what being vegan and plant-based means, why it is so important for me to share this and hopefully inspire other people to become plant-based or vegan. If you guys are interested in hearing my little story on why I became vegan, what it's like being vegan, what type of food I eat, how this has changed my health, then just keep watching. But as usual, you guys, before you do that, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. That really and truly honestly does help me as a small YouTuber here. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and turn on your bell so that you're notified every time I upload. And make sure you definitely leave me any comments below. Let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna start with is why I became vegan. Actually, hold on. I just want to do a little clarification. So there is a difference between plant-based and vegan. So I would say that technically, as far as the terms go, I am plant-based. That is because my food, like the diet that I eat, or all of the food that I eat, is all from plants. I don't eat any animal product or anything. Vegan is obviously the same thing, where you're not eating any animal products, but you also don't have anything to do with animal products, not just with food. So you don't wear fur or leather, you don't have products in your house that is tested on animals or anything like that. So I would say that I am probably at least 90% there as far as being vegan, where everything I have is like free from anything animal. I've actually mentioned it a few times before in a lot of my makeup videos. There are a few products here and there, I admit, that are not all cruelty-free. I've been in a big transition of just finding different products that are cruelty-free, so I'm still in that process. So that's why you will hear me say vegan, and then sometimes I'll say plant-based as well. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I don't want anybody that is vegan to come on my page and then comment and say, you're not really vegan, you only are plant-based. So I wanted to clear that up, okay? I have to give you a little bit of a backstory in order to get to that point. So I used to be a huge tanner, you guys. Like, I used to tan in a tanning bed, God, at least like 4 times a week. It was bad, like bad. Let me tell you, ladies, girls, I'm telling you, anybody, men, whoever, trust your mom or whoever it is, your parent or your friend or your dermatologist or your doctor, when they say avoid a tanning bed. Please do that, because I really, really, really wish that if I could tell my younger self back then, don't go in a tanning bed, like, I wish I could do that, because the long-term effects on your skin, let me tell you, it is not worth it, okay? Just get some self-tan and you will be fine. I was addicted to it. I needed to be tan. I always wanted to be, tan. I hated the way it looked when I got like pale. I had tans, like I said, for years. I think it was when I turned, I think I was like 28, maybe 27, was when I actually started to see some aging on my skin and some lines, and I was freaking out about it. So I said, oh my gosh, like, is this really true? Started seeing some like aging signs, like on my chest and on my neck and on my face, and it didn't matter what kind of moisturizers like I was using, how hydrated I was trying to keep my skin. I just started seeing effects of the tanning, and I was like, oh my god, like I started freaking out. I was like, oh my God, everybody was right about the tanning. Am I gonna like all of a sudden get these, you know, these aging spots and what's gonna happen? And I was seriously like freaking out. I made a commitment. I said, that's it, no more. I'm not gonna be going in a tanning bed. I'm not gonna lay out in the sun and bake. If I am out in the sun, I'm gonna make sure I'm definitely wearing sunscreen, and I'm really gonna focus on trying from here on out, you know, to have healthy skin. So I stopped tanning and really started to kind of up my skincare. I would say, I don't know, within like the first few weeks of not tanning, my skin was okay. But then maybe by like the 4th week, like almost a month later, all of a sudden, I started having massive breakouts, like massive. Like I had never had breakouts like this before. I never suffered from like really bad acne. I mean, I would obviously get like pimples here and there, but they would always go away. And I was starting to get really bad, what they would call like cystic acne, like right here on the jawline, and it hurt, and I was like really freaking out now because I'm like, what is going on? I stopped tanning. This is supposed to be like helping my skin. Why all of a sudden am I getting acne and getting it this bad? So I went to go see an esthetician, and I was like, you need to tell me what's going on. Like, am I having adult acne? Like, I don't know what's happening here. And I had told her how I just recently stopped tanning and how for years I literally was tanning like 4 to 5 times a week. So she did say that if you are somebody that suffers from acne or breakouts, tanning a lot of the time can suppress those breakouts because it dries out your skin. So basically what tanning was doing was suppressing an underlying issue, which was this acne that I had. It was like, now that I'm not tanning anymore and I am not drying out my skin like that, now this acne is appearing. And I was like, well, where the heck is it coming from? And I didn't have problems like this with acne. And she goes, well, let me ask you, she goes, do you eat a lot of dairy? And I was like, well, yeah, because let me tell you guys, before I was vegan, like, I was a cheeseaholic, literally. I mean, I was addicted to cheese, which is an actual thing. You can be addicted to cheese. And I ate so much of it and had, you know, dairy creamers with my coffee and ice cream and cheese upon cheese upon cheese, right? So I was like, of course, I eat a ton of dairy. She goes, well, maybe you should try to cut back on dairy because dairy can cause a lot of really bad acne. And I remember like, I was like really confused because I'm like, why would dairy like cause me to break out? Like, that's so weird. Like, I didn't understand. I was like, it just like intrigued me. Like, why in the world would, you know, my cheese and my creamer and things like that cause me to have this bad acne? So basically she said, stop dairy, or at least try to cut it down and see if that helps. So I did. When I went home, I was seriously, like I said, I was so intrigued and I was so confused on why dairy would cause me to have acne. I just thought it was really weird. So I looked up why does dairy cause acne, and I started reading these articles on what is in like dairy, what is in cheese and how it's made, what was in these products and what was in dairy, and how, to be quite honest with you guys, how gross it was, why and how dairy causes people to have acne and to not have great skin. And I literally got so grossed out. Like, I was like, I could have thrown up right then and there. I was so grossed out on what I saw and what I read was, you know, in dairy products, and how there's just bacteria and there's pus in there, and there's just things, you guys, that you can't avoid getting into that product. There's just, no matter how green and organic that people want to claim something is, there's still bacteria and there's still hormones and there's still pustules and things like that that get into these products because it is coming from the inside of their body. So it's gross, okay? So I just remember being super grossed out, and I was like, wow, I'm like, okay, if that is what is causing me to have these nasty pimples and these bumps, like, I need to really try to cut this out. Now, obviously that's easier said than done, especially when this is all, you know, you've eaten for years and years and years. So I slowly but surely cut that out. As I started to look more into like dairy and skincare, and I was like looking that up on the internet, of course, when you look at those things, of course, other articles start to pop up, right, about the abuse of animals, and vegan stuff started popping up at that point. So vegan articles were popping up, and that was when I first started to kind of learn about what being vegan was, because I never knew about being vegan. I of course knew about vegetarian, but I never really knew about being vegan or plant-based or what that was or how you could, you know, thrive off of that. And so I started to read articles on just animal products in general, like from meat and dairy as well. And like I said, I started to just, my mind was blown. I was like, is this really like what's in our food? I'm like, that's so disgusting. Like, that is so gross. I mean, how in the world are we eating this shit? I was mind blown by it. It was so crazy to me to learn all of this information. And then on top of that, I started to see the animal cruelty that was going along with the meat and dairy industry. And let me tell you guys that that probably was the biggest factor in the beginning that got me to just completely cut animal products out in general. Seeing what these animals go through is unbelievable, and sometimes I have no words, because it is so shocking to me that this is not being shown. I remember I just bawled my eyes out when I watched it, and I couldn't believe that these animals go through that, and that these animals go through that, and that these cows and the chickens and the turkeys and the pigs and everything, I mean lamb, every animal, it seems like, you know, is used for food nowadays. You know, whether it's duck, or goose, or, you know, chicken or whatever. I remember my heart just broke. I remember telling myself, like, okay, if I'm seeing that there's another option out there, and I don't have to participate in this, I'm going to explore that, and that's what I want to do. So I started looking into, okay, what is vegan? What is plant-based? What do I eat? So, and to be honest with you guys, I have been vegan or plant-based now for, gosh, I think it's almost 6 years. The vegan movement, okay, that's going on right now wasn't as big as it was. It wasn't like there was all of these things now on like TV and, you know, all of these major plant-based products that are coming out. So of course I started to learn about the animal cruelty side of it, and I can't even tell you guys how much that broke my heart, and I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was in shock. And the thing that frustrates me the most is that a lot of people don't know that. You know, when we are watching these commercials for KFC and for, you know, this bacon that's being cooked and you know, for morning breakfast and sausage, they're not showing you guys before that commercial what that cow or what that pig had to go through in order to be your food. They are not showing them be tortured and shot in the head and cutting their tails off, gassed, beaten. And the people that work at these places are pure evil in my eyes, because for somebody to be able to be okay with treating these animals that way and hitting them and torturing them and having so much anger towards them, when these animals have just as much feelings as we do as humans. And that's the problem, is people like to think that they're animals so they don't have feelings, and that they're like some creature that, oh, it doesn't matter if they die. No, they have feelings. They know what's going on. They cry, like they can have tears, they feel pain, they feel love. They want to live just like me and you do. They are just like your dog or your cat at home. They are just like them. They are animals who want to be loved. They want to live their life. They want to be with their family. And they are absolutely, absolutely not meant to eat. And that's what I believe. So anyways, I highly encourage you guys, or anybody out there, even if you don't want to be vegan, I still encourage everybody to watch a documentary. I will definitely link the documentaries I think are most important to watch below in the description, but I absolutely think it's important. I don't think it's fair that people say, no, I don't want to watch animals being abused, and are able to just turn like a blind eye, because these animals, they don't get to have a choice. Like, they are being forced into this. So I think that everybody should be forced to at least see what is happening to them, so that you can make that decision, because I 1000% believe a majority of people that watch those would want, literally 1,000,000% would want to help them and would be okay with saying, okay, you know what, yes, let me at least look into being plant-based. Let me see what can I do to help these animals. I absolutely believe that. Unfortunately, a lot of people turn a blind eye, and so it's out of sight, out of mind. So, you know, it doesn't really affect them. Okay, so back to when I first became plant-based. So I actually ended up doing what they call a raw vegan diet. So I had only like fruits and vegetables, brown rice, I like oatmeal. I wasn't having anything processed. I wasn't really cooking a lot of my food. I was doing a lot of like green smoothies, and I can't even tell you guys how amazing it was. Like, I would say within the first 2 months to 3 months, when people talk about how good they feel after they go on a plant-based diet, they are not lying, okay? Now, I want to just remind you guys that everybody is different, so everybody's like timing and the way that their body transitions could always be different as well. So my experience may not be exactly what you experience if you were to, you know, transition to a plant-based diet. But I just want to let you know, I felt amazing. I've never felt better. I actually ended up losing like 9 pounds, which wasn't my intention. It wasn't even my goal. Like, it was just kind of like one day I weighed myself because I could tell that like I got skinnier. And before people say that it's because I lost weight because I wasn't eating enough, that's not what happened. What ends up happening is when you transition, especially to a raw vegan diet, you are detoxifying and you are eliminating a lot of waste that is usually typically kind of kept in your body. So what that means is it's going to keep a lot of water weight on you. You know, a lot of the food, of course, that you eat has a lot of sodium in it, so that, you know, is water retention. A lot of food that just kind of sticks like to your gut and to your stomach. It's not necessarily you starving yourself or you're losing like weight because you're losing fat. You're losing a lot of water weight, a lot of bloating. You're getting rid of a lot of waste that's being in your body, which is a good thing. That wasn't an intention. I wasn't looking to lose, you know, that weight. But, you know, it was great. I was like, oh, cool. Like, you know, I got rid of a lot of my bloating and a lot of just, you know, like the belly area and my sides and things like that. And it just went right down, and that was great. So I was like, oh, cool. So one of the biggest things that I'm going to share with you guys that made a huge change did for me. And I want to share this because I know that there are a lot of other girls out there who are going through the same thing, and that is going to be the menstrual cycle. So when I first started my menstrual cycle, when I was, I believe it started when I was 11, you guys. From that age, from 11 years old, I had debilitating, massive cramps during my my monthly cycle, and it was so bad that it was to the point where literally for 3 days was bedridden, and I was curled up in a ball, and I was in so much pain, and nothing would work. It didn't matter if I took ibuprofen, Advil, Midol. It didn't matter if I had, you know, a heating pad or anything. If you guys, you know, suffer from this and you know exactly what I'm talking about, it is the most painful thing that you could seriously go through, besides going through the birthing process. First they thought maybe I had endometriosis, but they discovered I didn't have that. What we did discover was that I had a lot of cysts on my ovaries. Now, thankfully none of them like were cancerous, but for whatever reason I just was developing cysts all the time on my ovaries, and that also contributed to, you know, my cramp. It got to the point where I did see a gynecologist, and they did put me on painkillers. I was on Vicodin, I believe it was, for almost 2 years. And of course, at the end of that second year, they said they wanted to get me off because they didn't want me to become addicted because I was so young. I was freaking out when they said that they were gonna take me off of that, because those pills were the only thing that got me through, I would say, like the first and second day of my menstrual cycle. And let me just tell you, even with taking a strong painkiller like Vicodin, you guys, when I would get these cramps, that Vicodin wouldn't even get rid of my cramp. Like, it wouldn't make it so that I couldn't feel it. It just made it bearable for me, just enough so I could get through working that day, because it got to the point where I was missing 2 to 3 days of work every single month. After he took me off of that, I literally started, when I would get my monthly cycle, I had that same thing happen with my cramps. I started literally like taking, I remember I would take a leave, and you're only supposed to take, I think, 2 within a 24-hour period, and I was taking 4 right at the sign of my period. Like, right when I got my first cramp, I would take 4, because that was what I needed to take in order to, like, I don't know, like, help get my cramps somewhat under control. And then, I don't know, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours later, I would end up having to take maybe another one. And so I was like taking excessive amounts. Needless to say, you guys, I was like miserable. I was destroying my insides and my stomach by taking all of this medicine, and I just didn't know what to do about these cramps. So now we're going to fast forward to the, I believe it was like the first month that I went plant-based, didn't have any animal products or anything like that. And really quickly, I did try birth control in the early stages of when I first started getting my menstrual cycle. I honestly couldn't take birth control. I tried about 4 different kinds, and I just couldn't do it. I got sick off of them. I didn't like the way I felt, so I said I'm not doing birth control. First month of me being plant-based, basically what ended up happening was one day I went to the bathroom and realized, oh, I got my period, I think. I was very confused, because I was confused and I got nervous at the same time, because I'm like, oh my God, is there something wrong here? Like, this can't be my menstrual cycle, because I've had no symptoms and I have no cramps right now, and this isn't how this works. And so I was so confused. But you know, as the day went on, I started to realize this is my menstrual cycle, because I would say within a few hours I started to get like a teeny tiny, like a little slight cramping, but nothing big. And I was like, okay, I'm like, now my cramps are probably, they're gonna start coming on. I gotta prepare myself, right? So I took an ibuprofen. So I stopped taking a leave. I had ibuprofen, and I took 1 because my cramp at that time wasn't bad. So I just took the 1. And I would say within, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, my cramp went away. And I was so confused. I'm like, what is going on? Am I on my period right now? I have no idea if I'm on my period right now. Like, it's so weird. And so I remember I even called my fiance at the time, and I was like, I was telling him about this, and I'm like, this is so weird. Like, do I go to the doctor? Like, am I bleeding and there's something wrong? I mean, and if there was something wrong, I would like to assume that I would feel something, right? Like, I would feel pain, or, you know, I would have cramps or whatever. I was so confused. And so he was like, well, you know, have you been taking something different? Is there something different you're doing? And of course, the only thing that I thought of was, obviously my diet changed, right? I completely changed what I was eating. And I had no idea, like, that could affect, you know, my menstrual cycle. So I was like, hold on a second. So I immediately went and started to do research on just being vegan and being plant-based. And I found out that meat and dairy products can cause major, or actually not can cause, but it does cause inflammation to your body. And basically what's happening what was happening to me when I had these cramps, and especially because I also had the cysts, they were inflamed. I mean, it was very inflamed at that time. And if you think about it, I was eating cheese like crazy and dairy products. I had, you know, chicken and steak, and I had all of these animal products. And basically that was making my cramps so much worse. It was just causing the inflammation to just basically quadruple. By me eliminating, first of all of the animal products, right then and there is getting rid of some of the inflammation. And then because I was eating so many like really good vegetables and fruits, and I was doing a lot of juices, a lot of those, you know, those food products have amazing antioxidants, and they also are anti-inflammatory. And so it basically just caused me to have very, very, very minimal cramps. So basically, I can tell you guys, my cramps have been a million times better since I have been plant-based. And I absolutely, that is the only thing that I have changed and that I have done. I haven't been taking any weird, crazy medicines or anything like that. Like, that is what I changed, and that is what has helped my menstrual cramps. That was one of the major benefits, you know, to going plant-based. So if you are out there, girls, and you are struggling with these cramps, I highly encourage you, or I challenge you, just to at least try it for maybe like 2 months. You know, just eliminate animal products, eliminate dairy, go on a really healthy plant-based diet and see if that works for you, because it may not. You know, maybe you're different than I am. I'm not a doctor, but I just know that that was definitely something that worked for me, and I was seeing the transitions with my body, like as far as the weight loss goes, and then my cramps. On top of that, I felt amazing. I really did have a lot of energy. Like, I felt happier. I just felt great. As far as just actual physical health, I can tell you guys that as far as getting sick, there has been a huge change in how many times I get sick, okay? And I'm talking about like the flu and getting cold viruses and things like that. My immune system back in the day was awful. I mean, if anybody was sick, I mean, they literally could be in the other room and I would catch it and I would be sick for like seriously 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, that was how bad my immune system was. So as I kept going into the plant-based diet and I was living that and I was, you know, being healthy, I realized I was not getting sick. There were people that were getting sick around me, and I remember I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna catch this. I remember I started to see that I wasn't getting as sick, like I wasn't catching these viruses. And like I said, I really was trying to educate myself, and I was always doing research just on the foods I was eating, what kind of health benefits was I getting from them, what was, you know, I even looked into, okay, like, you know, how to avoid getting these cold viruses and things like that, and the flu, like what is it that I need to eat. And that got me onto a lot of these these shots that you take that have like algae in it, and cayenne pepper and apple cider vinegar and things like that. And I literally, I started to incorporate those, especially at the time when I was around a lot of sick people, and I saw a huge difference in the fact that I wasn't getting sick. And if I did get sick, now I'm not trying to say that I've never gotten sick. I've clearly, if you follow me on Instagram, I have gotten sick within the past, 6 years of me having this plant-based diet, but the amount of times I have gotten sick has definitely significantly dropped, and the severity of my symptoms aren't, as bad, and they don't last as long. I definitely say as far as mentally, it helps me because, when I'm eating the food that I'm eating, first of all, I enjoy it so much because it tastes good. Just because I'm eating plant-based food, you guys, it doesn't mean that I'm eating foods that I don't like or that I think taste gross. I still make sure that everything I eat is what I like, that it tastes good, that it satisfies me. When I'm eating this and I'm literally enjoying this food and the taste, there's a few things that just always run through my mind. Of course, the main thing is the fact that I am not participating in the killing of, animal products, and I'm not, we're not buying it, we're not putting money towards it, and I'm not eating them. And that always makes me feel, somewhat good. It sucks to know that, unfortunately, it's happening still. At least making me feel better that I'm doing my part. And then on top of that, knowing how bad some of those foods are for you. I mean, things that are in, animal meat, and the carcinogens that are in things, and just the bacteria, and the cholesterol and the fat and the sodium, and just all the stuff that goes into it that you guys, honestly, I did not really learn about until after I started doing research. It's just so good to know that I'm not eating those things. Now, I'm not saying that all vegan foods are healthy, because there are a lot of processed vegan foods now that are coming out. And just like processed animal foods like Burger King and McDonald's and chips and all that kind of stuff isn't healthy because it's junk food, there absolutely still is unhealthy junk vegan food. So you still have to make sure that you are eating accordingly, and that you're limiting your processed foods and your junk foods and things like that. But if you want to compare the vegan bad junk food to the animal bad junk food, this is still going to be, I think, better for you than this. So just personal opinion. Basically now I feel like it's come full circle because I can't even tell you guys the difference in my skin. Now, yes, there are other things that I do. I have absolutely 1000% have upped my game with my skincare products. I can tell you that by switching over to this plant-based diet, it has changed my skin drastically. I very rarely, like ever get pimples, ever get breakouts. Every great once in a while, I will get a blemish, and typically when I do, it's either because I've used a new product that my skin is reacting to, or it might be time for me to clean my brushes. I know, sometimes I don't clean them as much as I should, so then I'm like, okay, I think I need to do a cleaning, right, of all my brushes. But other than that, you guys, I mean, I do not have any problems with, you know, my skin as far as breakouts go. I've absolutely noticed a difference as far as the youthfulness in my skin. That obviously has so much to do with what is in vegetables and fruits, you guys. They, like I said, they have antioxidants. There's actually a new vegan collagen powder that I have been taking that I've absolutely been loving. Of course, I'm drinking way more water now and having a lot of these smoothies and these juices, and all of that does nothing but good things for your body. I mean, it does nothing but help you and, you know, make you feel good, make you look good. And so that's why I just am in love with being a plant-based diet. I think salads are like the least of what I eat. So I still eat pizza. Like, we have pizza night here, we have burger night, we've got tacos, I still have sandwiches, I have my vegan version of a country fried steak, I still have potatoes, I still have ice cream, I still eat chips. I mean, I have, we eat hot dogs, I eat eggs, so I still eat full meals, you guys. Another myth, you guys, is that people think that you can't get any of your vitamins or all of your vitamins or nutrients from, you know, plant-based products. You absolutely can. I think there's more than enough information that is out there from doctors and from nutritionists, and, you know, just from, there's so many documentaries that shows you absolutely can get everything that you need from a plant-based diet. I think I covered basically everything I wanted to cover. Once again, you guys, in all seriousness, it is crazy to me to once again see what these animals go through. There is a reason, you guys, why they don't want you to see how your meat and how your dairy products are made, okay? And I understand that there's people out there who say, oh, but you know, I get mine from a local farm or whatever. At the end of the day, animals don't need to die, period. They don't need to die for you to eat. There are so many options, and there's so many good and delicious plant-based whole foods that you can eat and let these animals live their lives and be happy and not be tortured. I really challenge yourself, you guys, to please watch some of these documentaries, not just the ones that only talk about the food. Like, I do know What the Health is an amazing documentary, and I always highly recommend that one. But I definitely encourage you guys to watch Forks Over Knives, to watch, there's a new one called Dominion. And I believe you watched that one on YouTube. It's important to watch these documentaries because it helps you to connect better on an emotional level with these animals and really recognize what they go through. All right, guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, there's Danny again. Do not forget to give this a thumbs up. Once again, that helps me so much. Make sure you guys subscribe and turn on your bell so you are notified every time I upload. Let me know if you like videos like this, if you like to see more little stories and more little personal videos. Yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.